Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. In today's video, I've got a selection of 10 fragrances that are going to be at the forefront of my rotation this August 2024. So August is still very hot, and the climate is really peak temperature, at least where I'm at, looking at the low 90s most of the time in August. However, it's also starting to dry out. The air is starting to get a little bit less humid as we approach the autumn season coming up at the end of September. And so these fragrances are all going to have a woody characteristic for the most part, something that is going to be matching in with that increased dryness in the air. Also a little bit of a rich quality from maybe something like amber and some sweetness in a lot of these, because the freshies are starting to get a little bit tiring coming in from June and July. So it's something with a little bit of added sweetness, kind of gearing me up for the autumn season on the horizon. So without further ado, I'm going to get started right away with this first one. This is Junoon Oud from Haramain. This is a clone of the Bulgari Tiger DNA, which there are many fragrances in this selection that are going to be straddling that line. So the Bulgari Tiger DNA, if you're not familiar, it's a somewhat fizzy grapefruit with a powdery woody nuance and some ambery tones. Really, that characterizes much of what this fragrance rotation is going to have going on for me, at least in August time. I also just feel that golden hue that kind of comes out of that ambery grapefruit nuance matches the month of August. It kind of has this regal feel for me, maybe just because the zodiac like Leo is associated with that month, and the lion and its mane and the setting sun and the African savanna, that kind of imagery is what I get reminded of in the month of August, and this one really characterizes that quite well. This adds patchouli and rosewood to that Tiger DNA, so there's a little bit added dimension of, I want to say, like luxury or richness or boldness and some added masculine facets. Something that I really appreciate about this fragrance, and it's really good in terms of performance for me, at least, and also a compliment getter. I think this might even be the most complimented fragrance in this list, and an affordable all-star because you can get it for under $50 at most places that I've seen Joma Shop fragrance by discounters like that. So definitely worth checking that one out. My personal favorite Tiger clone. Next, moving into some of the designers here. This one is one that I haven't really been reaching for yet this summer, but I'm looking forward to doing this August because of the nice woody facet underneath here. Also, another grapefruit prominent fragrance. This one goes into a little bit different direction in that grapefruit kind of vibe. This is going to be Hermes Eau Givree, and this also adds a juniper berry that kind of ices out the fragrance. The frosted glass is good in terms of the presentation and how this fragrance comes across, very much matching this yellow tone with the frosted glass. Very cool, cold, refreshing, and then it dries down into this characteristic Terre d'Hermes woody quality. Really awesome fragrance. It's a lot more casual wearing than the original Terre d'Hermes. So while you could dress this one up, I think this is a lot more of just a daytime, daily driver, and maybe like a brunch or cocktail party sort of fragrance for the high heat. Really great in the high heat because of that sparkling citrus and the juniper berry coolness. Okay, next one in the designer realm, we've got Dior Homme Sport 2021, another one that kind of keeps with that orangey, powdery, iso-y super fragrance, ambery nuance, just kind of like the Tiger DNA. This one's a little bit different and has some characteristics like the orange instead of the grapefruit that make this one unique enough for me, and it's really got a really big compliment factor, almost tied with this one, I would say. Really great longevity and really great deal for this one as well, just because you get this 125 ml bottle instead of just the regular 100 mLs that you would be getting at the designer prices, and you usually find this for right around the $100 mark, maybe 110, I think. Amazing stuff. Dior, my favorite designer house, I think, just given the number of them that I would keep if I could only hold on to 10 fragrances. That house shows up quite a few times in my current rankings. Next house, though, one of its best competitors from Dior, this is Chanel, the competitor to Dior, that is Edition Blanche, Allure Homme Edition Blanche. And this one is referenced as a lemon meringue pie fragrance. It's definitely got this creamy woody nuance going on in here, and a nice vanillic tone, really sparkling, well done, and realistic citruses on top of that sort of lemon meringue pie cream filling texture that this one brings to the table. Very nice and sensual, but also effervescent and apt for the daytime. Really another one that would be perfect for a brunch style setting. Easy to wear, poor performance, but a to die for scent profile. Definitely get your nose on this one at your local department stores if you get a chance this August. Okay, the final one, I think, for the designer realm, and then moving into 5 niche fragrances. This is Tom Ford's Costa Azzura Parfum. One of my favorite fragrances for the summertime period, but August is the month that I really like to reach for this one. Still goes into a marine, aquatic direction, but it's not quite watery in any sense. It's more like the coastline air. Cypress is the main note in here, so you get this coastal forest vibe. Very much this aromatic sensation with a little bit of that sea salty air nuance going on. Reminds me very much of Acqua di Gio, especially the Profondo flanker, or Parfumo flanker, the discontinued one. Not so much incense in here, but the cypress does add this very dry, woody character, and this one just has a certain level of sophistication that would almost be like a Acqua di Gio elixir or something of that nature, I want to say. Very much just a very rich, wealthy, regal smelling fragrance. Like I said, kind of reminds me of that Lion's Mane. Amazing fragrance. This was my actually scent of the day today, August 1st, Tom Ford Costa Azzura Parfum. And then finally, we're going to be ending off the designer realm with that one and go into this mass appealing niche fragrance. This is Cedrat Boise. Generally, you can find cheaper than a lot of those designers that I just mentioned, and this one, again, is a compliment beast. Really mass-appealing scent profile. It's got that pineapple-y sort of fruitiness, a really attractive, pillowy musk, sparkly, citrusy, textural feel, and, again, that boise, meaning wood, so you get this somewhat creamy, woody nuance, again, that is just perfect for this time of the year, the drying out heat, and this one actually, at least, I don't know what edition of the bottles there are. This isn't a screw cap, it's a magnetic one, but I get really great performance out of this one. For a freshie, at least, I want to say about 7 hours. Next, moving into another one that kind of straddles the line with that Bulgari Tigar DNA, powdery, sweet, ambery style woods with not so much of a grapefruit here, but a ginger. This is Ingenious Ginger from Goldfield and Banks, and this is really one that I like to reach for if I'm feeling indulgent in terms of wanting to wear a fragrance. Very much a gourmand style fragrance for this time of the year. It's got very heavy-handed dose of this vanillic vibe, that ambery tone, and the sparkly ginger brings it into this spicy terrain that also makes it great for sort of more intimate encounters, date night, summer nights in general, and just like I said, something where I'm feeling a little bit indulgent. It has a huge beast mode sort of scent cloud, so even if I'm just hanging out around the house or looking for a bedtime scent in the summertime, this one is absolutely killing it in that niche. And then moving into the last 3, we've got Acqua di Parma Colognia Intensa. This is keeping in with that nice powdery sort of citrus bomb that the Colognia line is known for, but then it modernizes it and makes it a lot more masculine by bringing in some leathery nuances and a nice spicy ginger as well. And this one just has this certain level of like black tie quality or a formal nuance that leather just kind of brings it into this classy, like leather seat sort of old school classical aesthetic. Just really something that I think is great for, you know, a wedding in the August season. And it keeps with that golden hue and that regal feel and the vibe of like a setting sun. A great one for summer nights as well. That is Acqua di Parma Colognia Intensa. Okay, the last 2, again, these are in no particular order. We'll go with this one. This is the newest fragrance to my collection, but one that I'm really looking forward to wearing this August. This is Orto Parisi's Bergamask, and this is a really Reminds me a little bit of my vintage, like 80s bottle of Eau Sauvage EDT from Dior. There's a little bit of this animalic nuance in here that I really appreciate about this fragrance, and it gives it a certain level of dimension that is really lacking in a lot of other offerings right now. This also has a really nice powdery musky quality. This sort of very subtle masculine lavender that kind of reminds me more of something like a drier sheet linen cleanliness rather than like a barbershop style lavender. And then this multi-dimensional bergamot that you get like the full facet of the fruit, not just the citrusy, juicy aspects, but a lot more of the greener nuances in there. Really amazing stuff. Beast mode performance just projects just as much, if not more, than this Ingenious ginger here. And again, it keeps with that nice sort of ambery, sweet, but also sparkly, refreshing vibe that is perfect for this here month of August, that golden hue, perfect juice color. And then finally, the last one, again, a little bit in that Tigar DNA. This is Roja Parfums Burlington 1819. Heavy on the cumin, so if that's a note that you don't really vibe with, I would recommend sampling this first. Definitely don't blind buy it. It's very expensive. But I find this to be the epitome of regality and royal sort of aesthetic in terms of all of the fragrances mentioned here today. This one just has this mind-boggling, leaving me speechless sort of composition of citruses that just have a really great texture, a nice sparkle, a nice added freshness from this mint that shows up in the opening, dries down into that ambery, powdery sort of woody nuance, but it keeps in with this very spicy and multi-dimensional class act sort of vibe going on. This one is really just one of my favorite fragrances to be wearing. I wore it at my daughter's last birthday party, her second birthday, and so it's kind of like a special occasion fragrance, so I don't reach for it that often, but the moments in which I am wearing it, memories are being made. So that is my last pick for the month of August 2024. Let me know what you're going to be wearing this month in the comment section down below, and as always, I really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.